Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me for Pilates Sculpt, where we take a lot of the concepts of Pilates and integrate it with multi-planar, multi-joint movement and do a lot of standing work. As always, listen to your body. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Feel free to take breaks, modify any way you need to. And today we're going to use all the props. We have weights, a mini band, and a ball. For those of you at home, if you don't have weights, you can use water gallon jugs, wine bottles, whatever you want. As far as a ball goes, if you don't have one, feel free to grab a pillow, fold it up, and the mini band is optional. So as we're working, if you're like, this mini band is too much, man, take it off. It's fine. We're actually going to begin standing and just kind of do a little bit of a body scan. So just notice where your feet are, right? Are they forward? Are they turning out? And then where are your knees, right? Are they rolling in? Are they rolling out? Are they hyperextended? Are they bent? Or are they just in a neutral? And then kind of check in with the hips, right? A lot of times with sitting, our hips tend to be really tight. And so our hip bones kind of dive forward, or it can create an environment where our ribs pop up. And then notice where your ribs are, shoulders, and ears, right? Notice without judgment. Posture is just posture. We're going to nod our chin, hollow out through the front of our body, and roll all the way down, one bone at a time, trying to just kind of peel your spine off of an imaginary wall. And breathe when you're down here. Inhale. Exhale and nod your chin a little bit, just a little yes. And then a gentle shake of your head, no. And then a gentle yes again. And then all we're going to do, stay down here, shift your weight back into your heels without your toes lifting. And then without your heels lifting, shift your weight into your toes. And just back and forth a couple times. Notice how this changes the sensation, right? Maybe when you send your weight back over your toes, you feel your calves a little bit more, right? Good. Last one, come back to center. We're going to roll all the way up, one bone at a time, just stacking up tall. Now we're just going to check the extensibility of our soleus. So keeping your toes forward, we're going to keep our heels down, bend our knees forward, and see if you are able to keep your knees over your second or third toe, no sneaking in, making sure there's no pain. Can you bring your left toe forward a little bit more? Just rotate it forward. Yeah, good. Yeah. And then come up. And if that doesn't feel good, that just indicates like, oh, maybe that muscle is tight, maybe that joint's slightly restricted. Suze, widen your feet about this much. Yeah, there you go. And just a couple more. Instead of sending your hips back, we're actually just sending our knees forward. It's weird, I know. We're not going to do this a lot. Don't worry. We're just checking to see, widen your knees for me. Yeah. If we have a strategy to get around ankle restriction. That's it. Now bring one foot back behind you. We're actually going to bend that knee slightly. Now keeping that knee slightly bent, sink the heel down. See if you can get a little stretch through that long, like flat, like deep muscle, and breathe. Now glance at your foot, making sure your toes aren't pointed out or your heel isn't brought in. We need the heel and toe forward. Now all we're going to do is press our toes into the ground as if we're trying to point our toes, and feel that calf muscle light up a bit. Just inhale. Exhale, stop pressing, let that heel be heavier, maybe let your knee bend slightly more. And then keeping that heel down, we're just gonna bend our front leg, straighten that back leg. Now we're getting that gastrocnemius a little bit more. And you can come into more of a bend if you want, but if you're here, squeeze your glutes forward, and that should potentially help that calf stretch more. Couple more breaths here. Then we get to do that other side. So bending the knee, don't worry about the heel yet. And then trying to keep that bend press the heel down. So, and we're focusing on that back foot here. Good. And then once again, making sure that the toes aren't sneaking out or the heel isn't sneaking in. Doesn't matter. We're just focusing on the back. Back knee is bent though. Back knee is bent, yeah. And then keeping that bent press into, yeah. Good. Couple breaths here. And then bend the front leg, straighten the back leg. Keeping your heel down. So the reason we're knee is one of our calf muscles attaches up above the knee and one of our calf muscles doesn't. So when we take our origin and insertion points away from each other to get a stretch, one of them stretches with a straight leg, one of them stretches with a bent leg. That's it. Good. And then come all the way up. All right, we're gonna come onto our knees real quickly and get a little hip opener. So bring one foot forward and just see where you are. Maybe you don't have tight hips and that is amazing. Maybe you're like me and you're either here or here. We're gonna squeeze the bottom part of our glute, trying to keep the top part relatively soft, squeezing the bottom part forward, finding a tiny posterior tilt of your pelvis. Maybe you feel a big stretch, maybe you don't. If you don't, that's fine. Maintain that posterior tilt, maintain that position of your ribs, and using your front leg, drag yourself forward a little bit. Good. Now, a lot of times we tend to be like, I want to get the biggest stretch. So we actually take ourselves out of our stretch. So even if you tend to stretch a lot, and this is your position, tuck your tailbone, see if you can get a little bit more out of it. Now we're adding PNF. So we're going to push our foot down into the ground for 5, 4, 3, feeling that quad light up, that hip flexor light up. Good. Inhale, exhale, just stop pushing. See if you can get a little bit more range. Now think about that knee. Press your knee down and forward as if you're trying to come into hip flexion. That hip flexor should be talking. Inhale, exhale, stop the pressure, sink into it. Now maybe this is the area that's tightest on you, in which case stick with some hip flexor stretch. Maybe your quads are tight. And if that's the case, we're going to add a quad stretch here. Now, if this does not feel good on your knee, you can either pad it or not do it. Once again, we are tucking. Only bring your foot as close to you as you can without sticking your butt out. Now, push your foot or ankle into your hand for 5. Feel those different fibers lighting up. They're great. 2, inhale, exhale, just stop pushing. And then see if you can let go of your foot and keep your foot right where it is. For 5, 4, keep pulling that heel in. 3, anybody's hamstring talking? 2, 1, let it go. Get to do that other side. And so just see where you are. Find that little tuck. Squeeze the underbutt and just see where your stretch is. Yeah, good. And breathe. And then push your foot down into the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, inhale, exhale, good. And just see where you feel the stretch, right? Maybe one side feels different than the other, that's all right. And then drive that knee down and forward. So if you're trying to come into hip flexion here, feel the fibers in a different place. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, same. 3, 2, 1, inhale, exhale, relax, and just hang out for a second. Yeah. Okay, smile, breathe, it's great. Actually, I don't want to tell you what to do with your face. That's your face, but if you want, smile, it won't hurt as much. When you're ready, we're gonna add that quad stretch in. So once again, we're squeezing that glute forward. Oh, I'm glad we're doing this. Well, I will be glad we're doing this when it's over. And we're gonna push our foot into our hand, matching that resistance for 3, 2, 1. Just relax that pressure. Think about dragging your heel towards your buns. Let go. Keep it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower it. Nice job, you guys, coming on to all fours. Now, if it's more comfortable to be on your fists with weights or your forearms, that's fine. Do what feels best for your wrists. We're just going to keep your pelvis and spine in neutral. Sink it down so your shoulder blades come together. Now widen your shoulder blades and collarbones. When I say widen, it's kind of like you're trying to take off a big jacket, right? We're trying to point them to the outside. It's less of a rounding. So we're not doing cat-cow. We're just letting our shoulder blades come together. We're letting our shoulder blades come apart. Letting our shoulder blades come together. Letting the shoulder blades come apart. 2 more. Last one like this, hold. Now just lift the shoulder blades up the spine, draw your shoulder blades down. Now as you do this, your spine is probably going to start moving in opposite direction, right? We're just lifting the shoulders, lowering the shoulders. Towards your ears, towards your hips, just getting a little bit of movement. And then draw them down and together, keep them down, widen. Now think about your knees. Press them down and out slightly so those side glutes can kick on. Hover 1 foot off the ground, slide it away from you. And then let it slowly come back, other side. It's barely hovering off the ground to start because we're not trying to go into a big range here. We're trying to stabilize, having 3 points on the floor. Couple more. Now, if this feels good, you can reach your arm out away from you. Shoulder blade draws down your back, pushing that foot away rather than up. Now, if you'd like more challenge, same side arm and leg. It's much harder without a ton of shifting. Now, don't let your back sink, abs on. So think of a plank position here, right? And it's pushing away rather than lifting up. That's the big difference, right? Like you have a wall on one side and a couch on the other, you want to touch them both. One more. Come back to center. Now, find that shoulder blade connection. Lift your belly button a little bit, melt your tailbone down slightly without overextending through your thoracic. Slide 1 foot out, press into it, other foot comes to meet it, hold. Good. So trying not to drop the ears. Gorgeous, that looks good. Yes, good. Letting those hip bones lift up higher than you think they need to. Because a lot of times we will sink our hips down and come into lumbar extension. Good, now if this feels good, bend one knee underneath you, reach it back. If you need a break, just bring your knees down to the ground, right? Couple more. 4, putting a little bit more pressure in your pointer finger mound than you think it needs to offload your wrists. And you can also think of, if you had tissue paper in between your hands, you just want to gently tear that tissue paper. Last set, knees down, press yourselves into a rest position. Hands come up and over to one side, press your hips away, opening that side body, and then other side. Good. Come back to center, hands and knees. Now, when we do this, it's tempting to kind of sink into our shoulders. I need you to keep pushing them away. You're going to slide 1 foot out. Inhale. Exhale, press into your hands, press into your foot, cover that knee up. And then you can tap the knee down. Inhale, exhale, hover. Good. And slowly lower. Beautiful, everyone. 4, 3, 2 more. Last one, hold. Rotate that knee towards your opposite elbow. Keep pushing the floor away. Come back. Rotate again. Now, if you need to be on your forearms here, it's fine. Just keep them on railroad tracks, and you'll have to lift a little higher. We have 3, 2, last one. Bring it down. Nice job. Guess what? Other side. Now, once again, you can always be on your fists, or you can use your weights. Just make sure that you're revving an invisible motorcycle, so you're not putting extra pressure on your wrists. Slide your opposite foot out, hold. Inhale, exhale, curl, push the floor away, and then bring it down. And again, making sure that you have your lower trapezius gently engaging, right? So what does that mean? All that means is your upper traps and levator scapula aren't forcing your shoulders up. Couple more here. 3, 2, last one. Rotate, rotate, and back, and rotate, and back. 3, 2, last one. Knees down, press yourselves into a rest position. And rolling out your wrists. And a fantastic news, we're done with planks for a few minutes. Grab your mini band. So bring your mini band above your knees. If you want it below your knees, that's totally fine. It's just going to be harder with it being low. And then lie down on your back, knees bent, feet flat. Take your feet out wider than your knees to start, making sure your toes are pointing forward. If our toes are pointing out, or we start supinating, a lot of times our lateral hamstring starts doing more work than our glutes, okay? So knee or toes in. Now think of rotating your thigh bones to help separate your knees. Good. Keep your big toe mound down. Just keep pressing gently into the mini band. Press your feet into the ground. Lift your hips. Now, check out where your weight is. If it's in your neck as opposed to your shoulders, open your throat and send your weight more onto your shoulders. You can always press your hands into the ground and then melt all the way down, trying to relax your spine until you come to your neutral. And then again, press into the ground, peel up. Think about dragging your heels towards you and then come all the way down. Couple more here. 3. On the way down, try to widen through your sits bones, letting your pelvic floor relax. Hold this last one up. Now, without letting your foot roll out, press out with one knee. Bring it back. Without letting your foot roll out, press out with your other knee. So what that means is your big toe is maintaining contact with the ground as you externally rotate. Couple more here. Trying to dynamically stabilize from side to side without gripping or bracing, right? 2 more. Last set. Come all the way down. Widen your feet. About to mat distance if you can. Press out with those knees again. Now we're just going to hip hinge up, slowly hip hinge down. Now we rolled down last time. This time we are hinging and hinging. All right, trying to keep those knees nice and stable for 3. Pressing into the ground to help lift you up. Good. Now, toes will have to kind of point out now, but I don't want them to point out independently of the knees, right? Our knees are often affected either from what's above it or below it, right? So no, throughout life, we're never gonna live in a position where it's perfectly tracked, but we can practice it when we're moving, right? Last one, hold it up, tiny little squeezes for 5, 4, 3, 2, trying to find that end of your hip extension, right? Last one, come down. Go ahead, hug your knees towards your chest. Hopefully they're starting to warm up a little. We're gonna come all the way to standing. So hands behind your thighs, press into your thighs, and then come all the way up, however you need to. I'm gonna just get trapped. There we go. Now, try to find, first, we're gonna find our superficial glutes, hopefully, as opposed to just our deep hip rotators. So just for fun, put your hands like you have back pockets and just squeeze your cheeks together. Like butt back pockets, not back. Yeah. Now, if you felt a big divot happen, that could indicate that your deep hip rotators are trying to do more than your superficial glutes, right? So now, relax that. Think about squeezing your inner thighs together and then engaging your glutes and see if that maybe creates less of a divot, right? Good. Now, lift one foot and hold. Good. Beautiful, everybody. Now, if you can, try not to shift too much. Brush that knee out to the side. Good. And brush it out. Yeah. Don't worry about range. And Suze, you're going to bring your right hip slightly more towards me. Yep. Just your hip bone, not your whole body. Yeah. There you go. Hip bone slightly more towards me. Yeah. And then instead of letting that knee come forward, try to keep it back some. Yeah. So it's more glute than TFL. Good. Now, if you're feeling this kind of front pocket here of that TFL, look at your knee. If it is forward in hip flexion, that is an indicator that that is going to be doing more work than this, right? It's not bad, it's just different. 2, last one, hold and breathe. And then if you want, 5, 4, good job, everybody. 3, you can have your hands together for a little bit of innervation for your body, or hands on your hips for moral support. And other side. Inner thigh, squeeze. You guys don't seem stoked about the other side. You're getting ready to be? Good. Now, if at any point you want to get rid of the band, it's fine. We're just going to press and bring it in. Now, as we press and bring it in, if you feel your knee going, whoop, that's just an indicator, right? That maybe either your foot or your hip isn't quite like ready for action. So see which one moved the most, right? Good. And trying to brush the knee out rather than letting it come forward. Good. Don't worry about range. Doesn't have to be big. 3, 2. Everybody doing okay? Good. Last one, we're going to hold it out. Hold. Now, if you want, you can do tiny little ones. Yeah. Now, hey, guess what? If you need to hold on to something, it's fine. Keep your knee bent a little bit if you need to, or at least forward. Yeah. There you go. 3, 2, 1. Nice job, you guys. Also, side note, if you are on the squishy mat, it's way harder balance-wise with the foot. So if you need to, come onto the floor. You might notice I'm wearing shoes. It's because I now have to, right? So we're going to squeeze and sink into a little athletic stance. Now, knees can be forward of the toes, but we also want our hips to be back a little bit. So we're getting flexion, hip, knee, and ankle, okay? Stick your butt out more and lean forward a little bit more. Yeah, good. So now we're still rotating from our thigh bone. Tap a foot out. Good, and then it can come in. Slide it out, or you can press. Good. Once again, if at any point the band is getting in your way, don't worry about it. Now, we are keeping that toe low because we're going to add on when you're ready. Good. 4. Good. 3. Now, if this is where you need to stay, it's fine. Otherwise, we take it out, tap, sink it down, bring it up, bend it down. Now, it's basically a split squat. We're not doing a lunge, right? Because we're not trying to find that up and down as much as loading that front leg, okay? So don't feel like you have to change your torso angle here. Good. Shoulders melting down your back, gorgeous. Nice job, everybody. 3. Good. 2. Nice. Making sure that when you breathe, you are filling your back line with oxygen. Last one like this. Now tap that toe in. Keep this knee bent for me. And we slide our tail feathers back as we hip hinge. Hold here. We're going to keep this knee bent. Push into your toes so that soleus can help. We're trying to come into hip extension before knee extension, right? And then hip hinge down. Now, if you feel this in your back, a couple things to think about. Are you letting your butt slide back, or are you just hinging forward, right? Levers, like a lever that's longer, is harder work than a lever that's shorter, right? So sliding our butt back slightly allows our lever to shorten, so our back muscles don't have to do as much, right? The other thing, breathe, expand wide and behind you, because that diaphragm lowering helps support your spine. It helps with intra-abdominal pressure. Anybody not feeling the glutes a little bit here? Great, just checking. Good. 2. Last one, hold it down. Now, this is a little tricky at first. Ignore this leg that's just there for support. We're going to keep our hips and ribs in one piece, rotate them towards the thigh. Push into the leg, rotate back to center. That's it. And again. So think of that inner thigh pulling you, and then that glute rotating you back. How's everybody doing? Yeah? Keep in mind, I can't see most of your expressions, so you might have to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or like the eyebrows. Give me 2 more. Good. You got this, Suze. Last 1. Come all the way up. Guess what? Other side. Yeah. So feet together. Find that inner thigh engagement, that glute engagement, and then triple flexion. Right? So knees, hips, and ankles. Great. And then just tap. And bring it down. Now, depending on your body, one side might feel vastly different than the other. So for example, I have trouble finding my glute on this side. My hamstring wants to do everything. So if you have a similar side to side adventure, right? If you need to potentially like take your tailbone and point it away from the side that's stabilizing you, or rotate that opposite hip bone slightly forward. That could potentially help you find your glute, or you can hold on to a wall and just find it with a little bit more support, right? Still trying to keep that knee in alignment. Using the stability from the band just causes that glute to have to work a little harder to help keep your knee in alignment. 3, and breaks are great, right? Take them if you need them. 2, last one, we're going to do that split squat. So think of that hamstring dragging you down and press and bring it back. And again, reach. Now, once again, if you love a lunge, you can do a lunge. However, lunges tend to be a little bit harder on the back knee, sometimes even on the front. So if it creates discomfort, don't do it, right? Good, keeping that knee lined up with your second or third toe. If it's lining up with your big toe, that indicates that there's a little bit of torque on that knee, right? Everybody doing okay? Everybody doing great? Good, we have just a couple more. And 2. Good. Last one. And bring it in, hold it there. I'm gonna turn this way. So that knee is still bent. We're going to hip hinge. So we're just hinging around the hip, letting the pelvis rotate around the thigh bone, push into the floor, squeeze your glutes, trying not to necessarily come into knee extension here yet. And slide it back and bring it up, pushing into the foot. So if you've ever done reformer work or springboard work, one of the cool things is you can close your kinetic chain. And because of the way your nervous system responds to that, your muscles can fire a little differently. So we're trying to use the floor like a prop, right? Instead of just bringing our body up, we're pushing into the ground to get muscular activation all the way up our chain. 3. Good. Using our core here to make sure we're not going into lumbar extension, just hip extension. Last one like this, push the floor away, hold it down, and then keep that knee lined up. We're rotating towards it and then rotating away. Hey, should you forget about your foot and just rotate your hips? No. Think about that inner thigh pulling you down and then push into the floor to rotate back. And we're going slow and steady, right? We're the tortoise, not the hare. Good. So Suze, on this side, it looks like you're trying to lean. So instead, don't go as far, come down. Yeah, just rotate your hip bone towards your mid thigh. Don't lead with your ribs. Hip bone, yeah, and then back. Try to keep your, yeah, better. So trying to keep that spine relatively still, rotating around it. Yeah, good. 2 more. Good, stick your booty out for me just a little bit. Yeah, and back, I know. Last one. Nice job, you guys. Take the band off. Maybe, there we go. All right, nice wide stance for me. Now, if your toes are forward, right, and you're bending your knees slightly forward, that's gonna be a little bit of like rotation on the knees. So let's try 2 different variations. One, keep your knees still, just move your feet, and then bring your feet in. Now, instead of moving from your ankles, we're rotating our thigh bone, our foot comes along for the ride. Rotate the thigh bone, foot comes along for the ride. Good, we're going to sink down, kind of low. Now, bring your hands on your thighs. We're gonna push into one of our thighs. We're gonna rotate towards the opposite. Now, come back to center, other side. As long as this feels all right for you and your body, just gonna go each direction. Good. Come back to center. Push into the feet. Think about dragging your heels together all the way. Good. Slowly lower, rotating your thigh bones. Press and drag. Gorgeous. Now, try to keep your knees at that second and third toe. Yeah, there you go. So if your knees are here, you can either help your legs or bring your toes in a little. One more. Good. Now, we're going to rotate our thigh bones. Hold it down. Let this leg internally rotate so you can look this direction. Rotate it externally, and then other side. Good. Think about the thigh moving more than your end range, right? If this is your range, that's okay. If it doesn't feel great on your knee, lift the heel, right? Pivot more, or pick your foot up, okay? 2 more. Good. Keeping that back knee bent and back up. We're gonna come onto all fours. Gonna move my mat a little bit. Sorry, not all fours, on our knees. My mistake. All right, so first, just see what your hips are doing. If they're bent forward, see if you can hug your ribs back, squeeze your glutes. Good, lift one foot. And then bring it to the ground. Tuck your toe under, come upright. Slowly lower. Lift the foot, take it out to the side and back. Good. Bring it forward. Hold if you can. Down. Press, lift. Good. Slowly lower. Then lift. Take it out and around. Guess what we're working on? So much, right? One of the things is being able to get up and down off the ground, right? Which is a skill that doesn't seem like, oh, I have to work on that. But trust me, if we don't, we can lose it. Being able to balance is really important. Being able to find rotation through our hip joint is really important, right? Almost there. And up, bring it down. Good. Last one, each side. Good. Hold, press, come all the way down. Nice job, you guys. We're gonna come back to standing after we've grabbed our weights. So grab your weights, come all the way back up. All right, so as we do this, yeah, it's not that much weight, but we're going to try to resist gravity on the way down, okay? So if you wanna work balance, stand on one foot. If you wanna work balance, but not that much, you can tap the other toe gently to the side. So bring one arm up and go to the other side. Yeah. Without bracing, feel how your core has to help stabilize you, right? We're just moving at the elbows. Now, our biceps brachii, we think of as an elbow flexor, and it is, but it's also a supinator at the elbow, right? So if you're like, I want to work that muscle in all of its glory, you're going to supinate as you come up and pronate as you come down. So it's a little rotation of the elbow. Yeah. Slow and steady wins the race. 2 more. Good. Last one, all we're gonna do, switch feet. Keep going. Good. And just see how it feels from side to side. Maybe it feels exactly the same. Maybe it feels vastly different. This side is the reason I have to wear shoes. So I am way less stable on it, right? Good. So just notice if one side talks a little bit more than the other, right? It's not a big deal. It's just information, right? 2 more. Good. Nice job, everybody. All right. Elbows hugged into your sides, shoulders down your back. We're going to try not to retract or kind of internally rotate. Just keep your elbows right where they are, straighten your arms, hold. That's it, hold. Shoulders down, collarbones wide. Everybody feel their triceps a little? Good. Then let the elbows bend, reach the knuckles down, back, hold. Just hold. Hold, squeeze, freeze. That's where the work is, yeah? And then let the elbows bend, down, squeeze, freeze, hold. Yeah, hold. We're doing an isometric contraction here. So your shoulder is wanting to be here. I think that might just be feeling a little bit more excitement in the neck. So hold here, try to just externally rotate slightly with, yeah, okay. And then bend. Did that feel a little bit better in the neck, shoulder region? Or the same? Same is fine too. It's all right. 2 more. Last one, we're holding it back. Now all we're doing is rotating our knuckles back. Then rotate palms together. Rotate knuckles back, rotate palms together. Good. Knuckles, palms face each other. Yeah. Now, if your neck and shoulders are like, oh my God, stand upright, press back less, right? We're just taking some of the gravity out of it. 3, 2, last one. Bring your hands down and then to your shoulders. Inhale, exhale, just push your arms overhead. Slowly let the arms come down. Now, as we do this, it is okay to let your shoulders lift, right? However, what we don't want is your shoulders to initiate it. So as you push, open your armpits, and at the end range, that first rib can rotate up. Good. So it's okay to get your arms to your ears. It's okay to let your shoulders lift. Good. 3 more. Making sure you're not locking out through your knees. 2. Nice job, everybody. Know what this is good for? I mean, aside from shoulder definition, being able to put like things overhead, like getting Christmas decorations overhead or dishes, I don't know, whatever people like to move in their homes. It's good for my favorite, which is reenacting the Lion King with a 20-pound cat. And all the way down. We're coming all the way onto our back. Grab your ball or your pillow. Now, we're going to bring the prop in between our knees. You're going to lie down, bring the weights with you. So 1 on each side. And you can either start with the weights or start without the weights. Find the work and then add the weight. Feel your shoulder blades on the floor, right? If you feel the blade of it rather than the whole thing, see if you can let your shoulder blades lie flat. Now, inhale, exhale, push your arms up, reaching more through your pinky fingers than your thumbs, trying to find that serratus. Then widen your collarbones, shoulder blades flat, arms come back down. And again, shoulder blades stay flat to start, and then add that serratus activation. slowly decelerate. Couple more here. Squeezing the prop in between your knees. 2, using your breath. Last 1, you can bring your hands together if you need a little support, or if you want to challenge your stability, hands apart. Slowly let your hands lower as your elbows stay still, and then reach and squeeze. And then slowly lower, reach and squeeze up. Once again, you can have your hands together. Just be aware, you have to be careful of your forehead, right? We have 3, 2, last one. Hands can come together, shoulders reset. Think about your ribs gently drawing down towards your belly button. Squeeze your prop, start to let your hands come overhead a few inches. That's it. Feel where you have to stabilize from. Hopefully it's your lower abs, and bring your hands back. So if we go into a huge range, all of a sudden we start stabilizing from our shoulder joint as opposed to our core. If you want to set one weight down and just hold on to the edge, bless you, of the other weight, it's fine. Okay, it's up to you, whatever feels better for you and your shoulders today. 2 more. Last 1. Go ahead and set that weight to the side. Interlace your hands behind your head. Spiral your elbows forward, shoulder blades draw down your back. Trying to maintain a neutral pelvis to start. Inhale. Exhale, curl your collarbones forward, coming into a chest lift or an ab prep. Good, good. Oh my gosh, you all look fantastic. Now bring your hands forward, push into an imaginary wall, bring your hands up, hands back behind your head, and hold. Inhale, exhale, slowly lower. We're going to do that again. Curl forward, hold. Looking right through the center of your thighs or at that prop, hands come forward. Push them into an imaginary surface. Hands come up, interlace, and then slowly lower. Couple more. Curl. Looking forward and not up. Hold. Hold it up, you guys. And slowly lower. The little squeeze and freeze is where the work really comes from, right? That isometric contraction, yeah. Curl, yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous. Hold. Bring your heels closer to you, maintaining that chest lift. Squeeze that ball, lift your heels. And just without moving your knees, flex your feet. So your heels come off the ground, yeah. And then tap your toes, good. And then don't move your knees. Just move at the ankles. Yeah. And tap. Good. And flex. Yeah. See if you can lift your collarbones a tiny bit higher. Yeah, good. Just it should be less on your neck. Yeah, good. And we're just tapping the toes down. We're not moving the knees, just the ankles. 3, 2, last 1, hold. Now float the knees up. You can point those toes, reach them away right before they touch, just at that hover. Exhale, squeeze the prop, let them float up. We are pausing at that end range because that's where the work is. Hold, exhale. So lower them for 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, squeeze and float. If you need to, can you put your head down? Yes, but it's the same thing. It's a slow lower. Hover. 3, 2, 1, squeeze and float. Couple more. Reach, hold, hold it down, bring it up. We're almost there. Try not to look at the sky. Look forward. Last one. Unless you need a break, in which case take a break. Hold, hold, hold. Bring it in. Hug your knees towards your chest. Set your feet down, taking that prop away. So just so you guys know, the reason I want you looking forward and not up is if you're here, it's a lot more pressure on your neck, whereas if you're here, it's a lot more ab, right? So go ahead, bring your hands to the sky. And we're just going to bring our hands forward, lifting our head, hold. Now, hopefully you're in that neutral pelvis. All I want you to do is inhale, exhale, curl your tailbone towards your face, come up a tiny bit higher, and then slowly lower. We're doing a couple more like that. So stay in neutral, we're coming up a little bit higher, and then we're curling, and then we're slowly lowering. How's everybody doing? Good? I'll take your silence as a yeah. And make sure you're separating out that neutral and imprint, okay? So we're maintaining neutral, we're holding neutral, and we're imprinting. Good. And now slide your feet out. Now, start in neutral as we inhale. Exhale, imprint to roll up. Good. Now, hold here for a second. Shoulders draw down, ribs come back. And we're going to slowly lower down for 5. Curl 4, curl 3, curl 2. Good. Curl, lower down. Now, if on the way up, think forward, rolling forward as opposed to pulling up. Yeah. Good. Couple more. Bend your knees for me about this much, and you can also use those weights. They're going to help. Yeah. So they're just going to offload you a tiny bit. Yeah, good. Now you don't have to take them all the way back. Just pause here. Okay, good. Yep. Good. Hands just to the sky for me. Yeah. And then forward. Gorgeous. Use your breath. Use your breath. Exhale for it. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Now there are a million different ways to help with roll-ups. You can also put a pad underneath your back. You can put weights in your hands. You can bend your knees. Last one like this. Good. Now, bring one knee in towards your chest. Now, curl back a little bit. Exhale. See if you can keep it there from your abs. We roll all the way back. Hands come back behind your head. Push the foot away. Fold it in. Push it away. Now you can rotate towards it and push. Now, if you'd like, just take half a pound of weight out of the extended leg. Maybe it starts to hover, maybe it doesn't. 3, 2, rotating from the ribs as opposed to side bending. Last one, extend that leg out. We're doing a roll up to get up. Bring that leg in, curl it back. Use your abs here to stabilize you. Then we roll back. Hands behind your head. Push the foot away. Try to find that same abdominal engagement as you bring it in. Now, whenever you're ready, you can start taking half a pound of weight out of that leg, and you can start rotating. Good. Few more here. 3. Sue's try to get to center as opposed to a side bend. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. 2. Last one like this. And we switch legs. Hold. Take your opposite hand. Press it into the leg. Press the leg into the hand. Hold. Slowly transition, other side. Hold. Slowly transition. Hold. Good. Trying to find armpit as opposed to neck. 2 more. Last one. Come back to center. Extend both legs out, arms up, and you can rotate onto one side. Come back to center. Other side. Now, if that is not working for you, hands behind your head. If you still need assistance, 1 foot down, and then you switch feet. Okay. 2 more, trying to keep everything lifted. Last one like this. Roll onto your first side, knees down, forearm down. Press the floor away, lift your ribs, press into your knees, little knee side plank. Maybe this is where you are. Maybe extend a leg. Maybe extend both legs. And breathe, keeping your feet separated for me. Now, whether you come through a knee plank or a full plank, come through center, other side. Whether you come through a knee plank or a full plank, come through center, other side. Right? Almost there. Last one, each side. Come onto your knees, press yourselves into a gentle rest position. Slide your elbows back. Shoulders draw down your back. We're going to press into your hands. Get a gentle little upper back extension here. Try to keep your tailbone slightly dangled and then down. Good. Shoulder blades draw down. Open your collarbones, yeah. And then back. 2 more. Good. Last one like this. Hold. Take one hand, you can place it behind your head or on your elbow. Nope, on your shoulder. Thank you. I'm like, apparently head, shoulders, knees, and toes was not my forte. We're gonna rotate and down. Good. Couple more. The other day, I couldn't think of the word for floor. I kept calling it a wall. I don't know what's wrong with my brain. Last one, other side. Bring it to your shoulder, and we rotate the elbow to the sky. Trying to get that thoracic rotation, right? A lot of times, if we can't rotate through our thoracic spine, our lumbar spine tries to help. 2 more. Last one. Hands down, tuck your toes, press your hips up, walk your hands toward your feet. Roll on up. We're going to end with the tiniest bit of balance work. So bring your heel to your toe and just see where you are, right? Now, we're going to add in ocular and vestibular for a second. So turn your head to one side. Turn your head to the other side. And then if you'd like, close one eye. If you accidentally make eye contact with someone, be friendly. Right? Hello. Ah. This feels good. You can always close your eyes or not. And other side, you guys. And it's funny how this doesn't feel like that much of a challenge in comparison to this. And this doesn't feel like that much of a challenge in comparison to an eye closed. And that is relatively easy in comparison to both eyes closed, right? One more each side. Come back to center, feet together. Slide your shoulders to your ears. Drop them straight down. Nice job, you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much for joining me. Can't believe our hour is up already. Nice work. Yeah, my pleasure.